Hi Shahzad, thanks a lot for coming back to our platform to answer the audience questions from our previous debate on will India become a superpower. There were many interesting questions, and I don't think we'll be able to go through all of them. But let's try to get in as many as we can in this session.
I'm always happy to be back with the argumentative Indians, and I hope there'll be more consensus than argument. But thank you for having me again, Yajur. Let's start.
Okay, great. So I'll dive straight into the question. In the middle of the pandemic, India is one of the countries that has made its own vaccines, at least manufactured, with very good efficacy, like you just pointed out, and also provided it to other needy countries. At the same time, India has also created records in being the country with one of the highest testing records in the world. Is this not an example of India already being on its way to becoming a superpower?
Well, like I said, I don't measure becoming a superpower from the point of view of just economic or military matrix. And that's where I believe that, a lot of people are saying that why did we give out so many vaccines to, and why did we do this entire vaccine military thing? And now see, America has not even helped you go or karo ye vaccine maitri, this and that. People have been panning that, but I think that part of being a superpower and comes from the fact that we helped out the poorest countries. Also, let's be very clear, pragmatically speaking, we are part of Gavi, the vaccine arrangement. And Gavi is a group that gave a lot of money to our manufacturers to augment their manufacturing capacity. So they were contractually obligated also to provide a lot of these vaccines to low income countries. So it was a pragmatic decision. It was also a moralistic decision. We made the most out of that decision. And I think it should be something we should be proud of. It did not take away any vaccines from the ones that we were giving to the citizens of the country. Those were anyways meant for our for distribution to those low income countries. Part of that production had to be augmented, had to be kept for that. So we did it. And I think, yes, in a sense, I would say, at least in my eyes, we are far closer to being a superpower after establishing that we were able to develop these vaccines, give it out to countries, make PPE kits, make N95 masks. Today, we are a net exporter of these things. We are actually helping the world. So I think, in my opinion, at least, we are a step closer to being a superpower, at least from the point of view of having that moral power in the globe.
Actually, I would like to add one
Yeah.
question where I'll just take this account of view just for the sake of it. More recent, the second wave, which is just going off the hooks, and it's actually much worse than what we experienced in the first wave or any country has experienced so far. Don't if the government got a lot of praise for handling the first wave, right? And after that, we almost knew that there was going to be a second wave and perhaps a third wave as other countries experienced. How come we were not well prepared for it? Like, I understand that you can't control a virus, you can't control mutants, but why is it that Delhi is suffering from not having respirators and other kind of just basic facilities? Shouldn't we have prepared for that? Like, right, there was a lot of praise for India, but right now, if you read the articles over the last 3 days, the whole world is criticizing India for how the heck India was not prepared for this. How come our medical facilities were not prepared? And it's all the more shocking because when I watch television, it's constant stream of advertisements from various governments, be it Bengal, Delhi, national government, taking pride in what they achieved. But
Yajur,
only
let
half of
me
that budget was spent in actually acquiring the respirators and medical facilities. Perhaps we would not be in this situation today. And this is just a counter views, just to get your thoughts.
No. You're very legitimately asking this question, and a lot of people are actually asking this question, and it's time to kind of address it very bluntly. Yajur, when the first wave or when initially COVID struck us, and at that time the Prime Minister took the lead. At that time, you would remember that the Disaster Management Act was invoked. And after that, the center started taking more responsibility, and it also took away a lot of the decision-making powers because a national decision had to be made on a lot of fronts. And that was how we could, as a leadership, take this thing forward, and we needed that, right? We needed a more centralized approach. And when the Prime Minister was doing that, you saw that we did actually have a lot of successes. Now, when that happened, I remember very clearly, Ajur, I remember very clearly, people started saying that Narendra Modi has essentially usurped all our federal powers in the name of Corona. Why is the central government deciding what we need? Why is the center deciding for the states? Why is the center deciding my containment? Why is the center deciding my lockdown? Give us more power. I am a state. We are a quasi-federal constitution. I need my powers back. Give me my powers back. Give me my powers back. This used to be the constant narrative after the first wave for a very long time, that see, the center is taking away all the powers. This Modi wants to be a Hitler. He wanted to just take away all our powers. We can all manage COVID very well. But this Modi, using the bahana of COVID, now has become a dictator. He's using all these powers to stifle our state powers. So what the center did? The center started giving limited amount of say to the states on various issues, trusting the states would do the needful. And some states did. I'll give you examples, including that of Kerala. The EG2, let's go with one particular example. EG2 was constituted. EG2 is the Empowered Group 2. That was constituted and given the mandate to monitor and to manage the supply of oxygen. And bear me out and hear this. In India, there is no shortage of oxygen. Don't misunderstand what I'm saying. India manufactures more oxygen. Its production is more than what we require. But we are unable to supply it. We are unable to supply it because the manufacturing of oxygen happens on the east side of India, naturally, because if you see all our steel plants, a lot of our steel plants are in Jharkhand, or they are in Chhattisgarh, they are in Jharkhand, they are in Odisha. That's where we have a lot of these huge heavy industries where oxygen is manufactured, and there is a excess supply there. We don't have supply of oxygen in Delhi because the NGT orders has prevented heavy industries from coming up in Delhi. So what happened was that a lot of our supplies on this eastern side, we have stocks also. Now, this oxygen needed to be brought from where it is in excess to places where the demand is high, say Mumbai, say Delhi, to say other places. So a lot of decisions were taken by this EG2. Those decisions included one decision, very important decision, and I can send you the letter for it. DGCI, the Drug Controller General of India, took a decision on May 2020, 1 year ago, that all state licensing authorities, that is essentially the FDAs of every state, must within 24 hours, without any hindrance, give permission to whoever wants to manufacture oxygen, medicinal oxygen in those states. Give the damn permission and give it in 24 hours. It was an order sent to all states in May 2020. This body was constituted in March 2020. It's been trying to unite the states, and states were part of this body, that listen, if you need to get oxygen from the east to your state, coordinate with the Roads and Transport Ministry, coordinate with the Railway Ministry, create that corridor. You also have to do that. That's what the Delhi High Court order yesterday said. It asked the Delhi government that you have been allocated oxygen supply from XYZ plant in Odisha. Do you mean to say that the center has to give it to you on a platter? This is the wordings of the High Court. Where are your cryogenic tanks? Where is your effort that if you have been allocated the plant from, say, Odisha X plant has been allocated for Delhi, where is your effort with the Railways Ministry or with any other ministry or with other fronts to get that oxygen back? For instance, one instance that was quoted in the Delhi High Court, I'm sorry to bore you, but Rourkela had oxygen meant for Delhi. When the nodal officer was asked by the central government appointee that, sir, why is the oxygen not coming to Delhi? He said, sir, my oxygen is ready. Send the Delhi government people to collect it. The Delhi government did collect it. Forget that. The Delhi government was so lackadaisical that even Inox is the leading supplier, manufacturer of oxygen. Now, Inox has the responsibility of giving oxygen to 45 hospitals in Delhi. This is as of yesterday or day before. They were not told clarity on 28 out of those 45 hospitals कि उनको कैसे देना है, क्या देना है. So you imagine Inox Center has told Inox that listen, you have to give oxygen to Delhi. You are being mapped for Delhi. Delhi, please collect your oxygen from Inox. All Delhi government had to do was give clarity to Inox that last mile, these are the hospitals that you have to give it to, 45 hospitals, these are the hospitals. They have not given clarity on 28 hospitals. Is Narendra Modi and the central government responsible for that?
No,
Mr. Kejriwal spoke to Odisha Chief Minister 3 days ago, 2 days ago. Why didn't he speak before this? On the other hand, that Mamata Banerjee is saying that oxygen produced by SAIL or by a central PSU made in Bengal is only for Bengalis. Is that how we are going to view oxygen? What were the steps taken by other state FDAs to give clearance for the PSAs? For instance, Rajasthan. We all know about Delhi. 8 PSAs were cleared from the PM CARES fund. The Delhi High Court asked Delhi government, sir, did you give the site clearance? They did not give the site clearance. That was completely under the domain of Delhi government. They did not give it. Now they have given it. Those plans will start in 30th April. Same case with Rajasthan. Rajasthan got funds from the center under NHM scheme. They have been given certain PSAs in Jodhpur that could have produced 700 D-type oxygen cylinders every day. The civil work that needs to be done to actually mount the PSA, the technology, those PSA plants, that civil work has not been done. Is that the fault of the center? And the center trusted you. You demanded those powers from the center. The center gave you those powers. They gave your state licensing authorities the powers to manufacture oxygen in local areas. You could have taken the lead, given those premier hospitals permissions immediately. You're a premier hospital. I give you permission. I give you the location. Please put up your plant. Put up your plant. If you can give 50 people oxygen from that, put up your plant. Do it. Where was it done in the last 6 months? And I agree. The center sent 4 letters. They sent 4 letters to 5 or 7 states, particularly where the cases were rising, that please look at this. You need to get your testing in place. You need to get your oxygen in place. You need to get your logistics in place. The second wave is coming. 4 letters at least 4 letters from January to March were sent.
Right.
Kerala is an opposition state. They have done the work on PSAs. Gujarat has done it. Karnataka has done it. What stopped Delhi to do it? What stopped Rajasthan to do it? So you see, we can blame, but why did these states not take cognizance of it? For another example, I'm sorry to make this a little longer.
Oh, this is interesting. I had no idea.
No, I'll give you another example. Kumbh Mela was being banned. कुंभ मेला क्यों कर रहे हो भाई? कोरोना फैल रहा है. I agree. इलेक्शन रैली क्यों कर रहे हो? मत करिए इलेक्शन रैली, कोरोना फैल रहा है. I agree. You asked about Delhi. Delhi has the highest has one of the highest case loads. Delhi has one of the highest positivity rates, 35-36%. Testing हो नहीं पा रहा है अब दिल्ली में. Outside Delhi's borders are these people who in the name of the Kisan rally are still sitting, and they have political patronage from Punjab to all opposition parties. Have any of the political parties who have been supporting this said once to them, boss, that law is in abeyance? For now, go back home. For now, please don't add to the load of Delhi. Don't get sick. Don't put your lives at risk. Don't block the oxygen trucks that need to come in through the borders. For now, just go back home. Punjab, there are rallies after rallies. Rahul Gandhi is quiet. Every day he puts out a figure, a tweet, a snarky response. Oh, you have now listened to me. Why didn't you listen to me before? But sir, tell your government, Punjab government, and I ask everyone to Google it. The Health Department of Punjab gave a report saying that rallies taking place in the name of Kisan Andolan in Punjab are not contributing to the COVID surge in Punjab. Can you believe this?
No, I think they all do, but I think social distancing is actually impractical, unfeasible in a country as densely populated as ours, where it's okay to tell a middle-class person like me when I drive alone on the road that I got to put a mask on even when I'm in my own airtight car. But what do you do about the millions of people who are living in such tough circumstances? They have to share bathrooms, 15 people share one bathroom. What kind of social distancing can be achieved in that sort of circumstance? But you brought up a very important point about like the importance of centralization versus decentralization, which is always a battle going on, not just in India, but also in any other federal country, be it Germany or the United States. So it's interesting to me because when I was reading reports during the first wave that one state is not letting people access hospitals, like people who were dying, they were not allowed to cross border to access hospitals across the other state. I was shocked. I was like, what is the point of being in one country then? Like, why don't we just go our own ways if we are going to have completely different policies and one state is going to shut its doors in an emergency? So which makes me think like, shouldn't the central government take on more powers in this sort of clearly, which is an emergency, a health emergency?
The problem, Yajur, I agree with you, but the problem is that now, this goes back to actually the first question about if Mr. Modi was to push any more for centralization, even with a noble intention, he would be labeled and branded as an authoritarian dictator. If you want decisive decisions, and if you would have modeled it that way even more, then he would have been labeled as a dictator. And we are in a democracy. Politics is noisy. In fact, the kind of things that Mr. Kejriwal did, broadcasting a meeting that is taking place between 10 states and a prime minister, it's never been done. It just shows that some people want to put politics above the pandemic. And I think that is absolutely unfortunate. Unfortunate. What is also important, Yajur, you're right, that, somebody saying that, okay, my beds will be for my state people. It's happened even in other cases. It's not just happened in Delhi, it's happened in other places also. But the point is that, do you want the center to then have more powers? Then the politics around it should not be that, listen, this man is a dictator. You can't say heads I win, tails you lose. That can't be the narrative. If Mr. Modi steps in and takes more decisive decisions, then you blame him and label him as a dictator. If he trusts the states, then they betray the confidence like it was done in that meeting. And I think that is the lowest anybody can fall to broadcast some part just to make a political point scoring at a time when people are gasping for breath and air. You're gasping for airtime. I mean, I think then let us all say that, listen, let the central government front this. If they then fail, we blame them completely. But if they start taking more decisions and then the states start shouting that, listen, they're usurping my powers, then that should not be the case. Then it can't work like that. It can't be chit bhi meri, pat bhi meri. That can't be the
two-edged sword. More responsibility will require more authority.
Yeah.
So moving on, we'll just go over.
And then you can fix accountability. Then I am happy for you to day and night abuse the central government for everything. Then you abuse day and night. No problem. But first you give the powers and don't crib. Or else, if you want to do it, and that's how you want to model your politics, ki maine kiya, then don't crib that he is responsible for things that were completely your domain, like it was pointed out by the Delhi High Court.
Correct.